Today I'm going to teach you how to crochet the magic loop. It's also commonly referred to as a magic circle or a magic ring. I've heard adjustable ring or adjustable loop, and really it's just different terminology that all refers to this same technique. So what is it? It is a way to begin crocheting in the round. So for example, a top-down hat. And the traditional method leaves this hole in the center. And the magic loop eliminates that. So you get a nice tight closed center. So I'll walk you through how to do this a couple of times. The first time we'll go really slow. And after I've shown you, I will teach you how to tighten your loop. And there is a little trick to it to eliminate a lot of frustration. To begin, take the tail end of your yarn, that's the cut piece, and lay it over top of the 4 fingers on your left hand. If you're left-handed, you can do it over your right. I leave about, a 2-inch tail or so past the bottom of my hand. Secure that tail end with 2 fingers, so you'll have like finger guns. And then we're going to take our working yarn, which is the one that's attached to your ball. Wrap once, twice. You don't want to get super tight here because that's going to make your next steps a little more difficult. So just a gentle tension here. At this point, still holding on to your working yarn, rotate your hand so that the top of it is facing you, and cross the working yarn over top of the 2 loops. Okay, so one more time really quick. Wrap once, twice, rotate your hand, and cross that yarn over top of the 2 loops. So you'll need to secure this yarn here. And I use my pinky. You can use whatever is comfortable for you. It doesn't need to be really tight. You just want to keep it in this kind of position. Take your hook. I like to point it so that the hook side is down. Insert it underneath the 2 loops on my fingers. Really, so it's underneath this one, and this one. So underneath these loops, slide it to the top of your finger. That is going to make grabbing this yarn a little bit easier. So underneath, slide to the top. Now hook your working yarn. Pull it underneath both of those loops. Once you get to the point that you've cleared that, twist the hook back towards you. So again, grab the working yarn, pull it underneath, rotate your hook back towards you. Now at this point you can chain 1 or 2, however many your pattern calls for, depending on your stitch. I'm going to do double crochet, so I'm going to do 2 chains here. Now at this point you will see that you have secured your loop, so you can drop it. Take a moment to look at your loop. On the right side of your chains you should have 2 loops. And on the left side, you should have 3 loops. And really that's 2 loops plus your tail yarn. Now we begin working into the center of this ring. And we're going to work our stitches over top of all 3 of these. So they're going to all stay snug together. I like to use my middle finger and my thumb to keep the bottom of the loop a little bit taut. You don't have to pull it super tight. And then you can begin working your stitches into the center of that underneath these 3 strands. And then complete your stitch as usual. You don't want to split it and work into these over here. We want to go this way. Okay, and so you would then continue on that way, however many stitches your pattern calls for. Well, I'm going to run through this one more time, and then I'll show you how to secure your loop. So we'll go a lot quicker this time. Tail end of the yarn down about 2 inches past the bottom of your hand. Secure the tail end. Wrap the working yarn once, twice around your fingers. Rotate, cross working yarn over, secure with your pinky. Take your hook, insert under the loops, slide to the top, grab your working yarn, pull it, that happens, pull it underneath the 2 loops, twist the hook back towards you, and then chain 1 or 2 or however many your pattern calls for. Again, we're double checking to make sure we have 2 loops on one side, 3 strands on the other. And then we're going to crochet into the center of that loop, wrapping around all 3 of those strands. And you will just continue on for however many your pattern calls for, or whatever it is you are feeling that day. So I'm going to do, 10 or 12, and then I'll meet you at the end to teach you how to tighten this loop. Okay, so I've come to the end of my stitches, and I'm just going to pull my hook out here. Now, your first instinct might be to just grab this tail yarn and tug it all the way tight, and that is going to cause you a lot of headaches. What we want to do instead is to gently pull it until we begin to see which of those other 2 loops tightens first. So you can see this one is still really loose, and this one has gotten snug. That is the loop that we want to work with. So I'm going to try to see if I can wiggle this back out and show you again. You're going to pull on your loop, or your tail end, I'm sorry, until you see one loop getting more snug. Grab that snug loop, and you're going to pull it tight. And your loop will, or your yarn will be coming from this top portion, so you'll just kind of pull it from there until your loop gets nice and snug. Be careful if you're using a really delicate yarn, because it is easy to snap at this point. So now we have this big old loop that we want to get rid of. So pull your tail yarn nice and tight. You have your nice closed center. You can then join and continue on about your merry day following your pattern. I hope this tutorial was helpful for you, and if you have any other questions or need something explained a little better, please let me know. I want to make sure that my tutorials are as clear as they can possibly be.